So cool, Ron. Welcome.
Good to see you
Welcome
again.
to the show. Good to see you. So we're out here in Chicago at the Out of Chicago conference here, and we're talking with Ron Pepper about some different things in business. So we're going to start off, I think, with panoramics and stuff, right?
First, let me say everywhere I go in the photography world, Nick Papagallo right there.
Hey, Mr. Papageorgia, how you doing? So you do a ton of different things. So you do some really cool stuff. You do your panoramics, and you're doing stuff with aerial a little bit, right?
Right.
And you're doing 360s as well, correct?
Right. And then sometimes 360-degree aerial shots.
Awesome. So he was showing me some of the stuff out in Vegas, and I was just blown away by it. It was just awesome stuff. And maybe we'll link up to that at the end and everything if you send me some links to that. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with panoramics these days.
So I do things that are stitched together. They rotate the camera and put them together later. So that can be something really wide, like the entire 180 degrees of a sports stadium, for example. Or, but really what I specialize in is full 360s. And my favorite thing to do is things like hotels and small business interiors, restaurants, and things like that.
Okay.
And that leads me into doing other projects like aerials sometimes when a client says we want to do a bigger project and we want to start from an aerial view. Like you can look on Google Views now, and you'll see an aerial shot over USC, University of Southern California. I don't know who's watching.
Yeah,
USC.
No, all over. It's going on YouTube, so right. Everyone.
You can see that on Google Views. You can see that on my own website as well, but it also starts from an aerial view, 360 shot, up and down, and then you can drill down into the individual areas on the campus. So that'd be another use for it, and that's the kind of thing I do.
Are you, when you're doing the aerials, are you doing them with helicopters or drones or both?
Helicopters.
So you're actually going in a real helicopter.
The old-fashioned way, yeah, with a pilot and everything.
Awesome.
I haven't gone to drones at this point. I've done a lot of research with it, and if I want to do a really good quality panoramas, I got to carry a full-size camera up there, and that takes one of those big octocopters. Really, it's a really heavy investment in learning and money.
Expensive, yeah.
Yeah, and you need a pilot for it versus just one person controlling the camera. So that's the future.
Yeah.
I just haven't really switched to it. And I don't want to give the wrong impression. I don't do aerials all the time. That's kind of a nice special project I do once in a while.
Okay, cool. So with the panoramics and stuff that you are you doing them like gigapan style, where you're doing multiple and putting them together, or are you doing them just stitched wide, or both?
Both. Yeah. I don't have a lot of gigapan experience, but I've done some of it.
Yeah.
I've done more processing for photographers of gigapans than shooting them myself. That's a whole specialty in itself.
Yeah, crazy stuff too. You can zoom in on like one person in this.
And when you have a lot of people, that's a really interesting. I'm working on something like that now, and that'll be out later. But if you want to be able to zoom all the way in, seeing those individual people is a real special project. So
excellent. Some cool stuff. So you also, on top of stitching stuff, you stitch stuff as far as your HDRs and actually putting different exposures together quite a bit.
I like things to be as complicated as possible. So when not only do I rotate and take shots that are overlapping, but each one of those overlapping shots is bracketed.
Like 7 times too, not 3.
Yeah. Could be 3, 5, 7 times. That's my favorite HDR tip is don't think in taking 3 shots. Everything is I take my 3 shots, but a lot of times you need more. I do a lot of interiors. You got a dark corner and you got the beach outside the window. That's a really wide dynamic range, so you're taking 7, 9, 12 shots to capture that.
Wow, to get everything, all the...
Right.
So when you put these together, we have lots of people, 35,000 people following the pack and everything. So, you see these pictures push so far to the right. They push all the sliders to the right to do their HDRs and call it a style. You work with photomatics. Do you consider that a style, or do you consider that just more of an amateur kind of thing that you grow out of?
I like the way you said that, something you grow out of. It can be that. I don't poo-poo the style at all because, frankly, that's what made HDR popular was that look.
The grungy look.
Yeah, but there's so many of us. I guess my main thing is there's that, of course, and there's others of us that use the same tools to get very realistic results. Like the last thing I want is something to look and people say, "Oh, it's HDR." I wanted to look like I lit the scene with lighting.
Yeah.
Except I didn't have to bring in a whole bunch of lighting and spend the day with a couple of assistants preparing one single shot.
Yeah.
Frankly, clients aren't paying for that these days, and you don't need it. If you do it right, you can pre-process, use HDR tools, and post-process so that it doesn't look like it was processed that way. Yeah. And so there's a lot of different uses. I would say that we all see a lot of photography that we don't realize has been from an HDR workflow. And you see a lot that you do know. Some of it you pick out right away.
So,
did he just pinch you?
No, he waved. There was the founder, Chris, there. That we'll get him on this interview soon.
Is that a video bomb?
Yeah, it was a video bomb, I think. So cool. So there's a couple different companies you work for. What is your website where people can find more about you and your panels and everything?
Probably the easiest thing to do is just Google Ron Pepper.
Ron Pepper.
Most people call me just Pepper, but if you Google Ron Pepper, you'll come up with my site. But my business website is panoramanetwork.com, which is not as easy to remember.
Okay.
And you can see a couple of the aerials we were talking about. For example, you can see the other one, probably the ones we talked about here.
Okay, cool.
And yeah.
And then you're working with Photomatics as well.
Yep. I have a great client, HDR Soft. They make Photomatics, and that's one reason I kind of have a lot of sort of insider understanding of how that all works.
Excellent.
And part of what I do is answering questions from photographers. How do I get good results? How come I'm not getting good results? What can I do to improve this? So, the best way to learn is to teach, right? So I consider myself to be really lucky to be in that position because I get better at what I do. And I also have this great client that is a good balance because I can do photography and I can do kind of the support type thing.
Excellent.
So if you have, for example, if you have questions on, if you write to support@hdrsoft.com, depending on your question, you might give me that answers it.
Excellent. Oh, cool. Well, thank you for coming out and answering some of these questions and give us a little insight to what you do.
By all means, thanks for making me look like a big shot here.
Definitely. So we'll edit some of these photo bombs out, and so there'll be spaces in here, and that's people walking through our scene. So we are at the Out of Chicago conference up here in Chicago, and we will see you real soon for some more interviews. Thanks for watching.